to still connect. I can't hear you. Okay, it says you're on mute.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum
Alaikum salam.
Alhamdulillah. Okay. I need to go back to the questions that we did not finish. So I hope Sister Aisha will help me find those questions. Is it the list on July 4th?
I believe we have finished July 4th already. So we're now on to that new list from last week that I forwarded you.
Well, unfortunately, what I have is only the one on July 4th. This is the last I got. And it does have questions that we have not answered. So let me remind you. The first question here says, how to teach and protect children to stay away from sexual assault, sex education, and LGBTQ. For example, some parents wouldn't share sex issues with education, issues or education to Muslim children. So most of them curiously asked non-Muslim children. It usually happened in North America and Europe. That's the first question I have from July 4th. And I will go with this list, and then if we have anything else, we can share it, inshallah. Okay. In Islam, sex education starts at very young age. But that term then doesn't mean or carry the Western meaning of the word. But the child needs to know, for example, that if he is a boy, that he should not venture into the girl's room without knocking on the door. And the girl should not venture into the boy's room without knocking on the door. Okay? They should not change clothing in front of each other. Okay? They should not seek to be in the bathroom or the shower together. And they should not be allowed to do that. So there are certain limits. And the purpose of this is to implicitly teach them that girls have their world and boys have their world. They are brothers, they are sisters, they can play together. They can and must eat together. They must enjoy the company of each other. They can crack jokes, they can have chat, they can join activities, everything they can do together. But certain things that are limited to gender context, they have to be done separately. Also, young children need to be taught that girls wear dresses, boys wear pants or jilbab. Jilbab, G-E-L-B-A-B. Okay, jilbab is something like the one I am dressing, like this. Okay? Or the dress of the woman also is called jilbab, from shoulder to toe. Okay? So boys may dress a pant, may dress a short below their knees, may dress a jumper, may dress anything, but dresses they cannot. Girls also need to learn that at young age, they can dress pants, they can dress t-shirts, they can dress, but as soon as their feminine body shapes and start to show figure, they need to be taught, they need to become modest in their dress. That is very, very important. All of these are introduction into what we call today sex education. Okay? They need to know at young age that Allah created us in one of two forms, either boys or girls. Boys and girls are equal in the sight of Allah. They are equal in the sight of their parents. They should be treated equally the same. But boys are presumed to have more power to do the heavy lifting of stuff. So if you take your children to the shopping, for example, don't overload the girl because she's a bit older and let the boy skip. No, try to be fair. Whatever you think they can carry, let them carry it. Okay? Whatever you think, not they think. Because kids cannot make judgments, so they can hurt their back attempting to please mom or dad. So what I'm saying is, why did Allah create us differently? Boys and girls, men and women. Why? We have to answer that because that's part of their sex education. Okay? Because Allah has made it in the nature of humans that they get married and that He would gift them with children. Right? And when He gifts them, He chose the woman, the grown-up girl that becomes a woman, the wife, to become pregnant. Girls, when they grow a little bit older and they reach the age of puberty, they will have their monthly menses. They will have some blood running. They should not be scared. It shouldn't be left up to them to be shocked with this kind of surprise like most girls have. No, we, the mother, should talk to our girls when they start showing signs of a little bit of maturity and before the exact age of puberty. We know that girls can reach puberty very quickly, like by the age of 7 in some cultures, 8 in some cultures, 9 in some cultures. So we should be always paying attention to the development, the physical development, so that we warn our girls before they hit the puberty and before they start asking deeply involving questions. So we should give them this introduction that Allah created us humans in the form of a male and female because He expects the woman to become pregnant, to become mother. Your dad cannot be a mother. Only your mom can be your mom, okay? And your dad must be the father and your mom cannot be the father. That is also part of the introduction to understanding the sexual makeup of every child. Also, we should teach them that boys should help girls in matters that require physical strength. When you see your sister carrying something and she cannot walk with it, give her a helping hand. And the sister should also help her brother when he's carrying heavy stuff. We should teach them that working the chores at home is a joint duty. So the kitchen is not exclusively for the girls. The kitchen includes cooking and it includes also cleanup. Both are activities for boys and girls. Both of them will benefit a lot learning those skills. Whenever you feel it is safe for them to be in the kitchen, it is safe and wise for you to allow them to use the knife without hurting themselves, or a scissor or something sharp. That is a judgment call on the mother. But we are still focusing on the introduction to sex education. That is very essential. Also, they need to learn that because a wife may become pregnant the first few months of marriage, and she goes through stages that are more painful than the mere monthly cycle. And that means she cannot do her normal duties. She may not be able to cook because of the nausea she feels and the distaste she feels, upset stomach. All of these symptoms of pregnancy require her to be taken care of, not to be charged with more responsibilities. And because a woman may deliver one baby, maybe two babies, maybe three, maybe more. But even if it is only two babies, even if the woman started off her marriage life as a person who has a PhD in something, she is an expert, she is well prepared academically and professionally to take her role in society. Once she becomes pregnant, all of this fades away. And if the child, raising a child, from weaning the child off, which takes about 2 years, to cleaning the child up, which may take 2 more years, and then to teach the child to be somewhat independent, somewhat, it takes 2 more years at least, or 3. So now one child is now how old? 6, 8 years to start feeding themselves and cleaning after themselves and taking a shower by themselves, putting their clothing in the laundry hamper. All of this are discipline and chores that takes a time, a long time, for a child to become somewhat independent, in some activities. Okay? That is true for the boys, it's true for the girls. So in that stage, they are almost equally the same. But once the woman becomes pregnant, she needs to be taken care of. She cannot go to her job and vomit on the desk. She cannot afford to do that in any professional setup. So she needs to be home, she needs to be served, she needs to be encouraged, she needs to be supported, and her physical symptoms during pregnancy become a burden on her back, a burden on her hormone secretion glands, a burden on her neck, a burden on her psychological and emotional strength. So therefore, and because a woman normally may deliver from 1 child to above maybe about 16 children. I have met people who told me, I have 16 brother and sister, which means she was number 17. By the way, this is an American family. She was born and raised in Texas, where I studied some. So, and in the farmland, this is the norm. So what I'm saying is, it takes a whole age of a woman to deliver, raise, and care for 1, 2, 3 children. They may take about the prime of her life. The best 15, 16 professional years of her life are absolutely taken away in this process. By then, the best science she had learned, the best business skills she had learned must have waned off. Why? Because she has been dependent for 16, 17 years, only raising 3 kids. The oldest is 16, still didn't cross the teenage yet, right? And the youngest maybe 7 or 5. So what does society offer of alternative? They say, put the children in a babysitting setup where infections and diseases are rampant, negligent, and sometimes criminal activities, as we hear in the news, are rampant. And many people don't like to do that. For these reasons together, Allah required men to provide for women. I hope this is an easy issue for all of us to understand. Okay, so let us go to what we regard as Western sexual education. As Muslims and as Christians and as conservative Jews, we all would love to teach our kids sex education so that they are well informed about their body makeup, their body difference, and how to use their body appropriately, how not to abuse their body parts or to abuse themselves or to become in themselves sex addicts or to engage in premarital sex. We would love all of us to do that, and we must teach our children to do that. But, and this is a big but, we must teach them our ethical, spiritual values side by side with their sexual education. So sexual education should not be limited to the biology of the body, the function of body parts. These are the biological issues related to sexual education. But like everything else, as you teach your children not to use their hands to hurt others or self, we must teach them not to abuse their sexual parts, not to play with their sexual parts. They are not play parts. They are there for a function. We must teach them that approaching anybody for sexual play is never allowed unless they are 2 adults married, a man to a woman and a woman to a man. This is the time to start thinking of that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given children at young age the innocence not to think about those issues in those terms and not to venture into those areas at young age. But not all children are born alike. Some children, unfortunately, they venture into trying to figure what is under her skirt or what's under his pant. Do we look alike or not? So those are innocent curiosities. We should not treat those before the age of puberty as something ominous and it shows that the child is a deviant person. No, we should be reasonable and rational enough to stop them from doing that and to teach them this is shameful that you uncover the privacy of your sister or your brother. This is not good. And we should tell them that there are limits for everything. So you don't use your hand to hurt anybody. You don't even use your eye to hurt anybody with a bad look or a condescending look. Likewise, I do not have the license to either abuse my sexual organs or to venture into abusing or attacking somebody else's. Those are important. So I am teaching sexual education, but I am teaching the values that govern how to deal with my sexual organs. Very important. Boys should be taught by their fathers. Girls should be taught by their mothers. So this is not an education that is appropriate for co-education. Of course, you can ask lots of questions on these issues because they are involved. But raising children from the beginning to have the shyness, the respect for each other's privacy, for each other's nature, for each other's self-esteem is fundamental. When do we start then teaching our children about sexual education? We should start teaching them when we start teaching them about cleaning themselves. When do we start doing that? When they can. And not all children mature with the same skills at the same time. So there is no one age to determine that's exactly when you do that. But definitely, if you start finding one of your kids trying to play with his hands or trying to touch his brother or sister in a wrong way, you know that they need what you have not taught them before. The better is to teach them when you start cleaning them, as you are washing them after using the bathroom, or as you give them a bath, teach them, this is how you bathe yourself. Okay, take the sponge. Okay, rub yourself, put soap, put shampoo here, do this, do that. So you teach the child to do his own bath or her own bath under your supervision. In that process, you teach the child not to touch himself in the wrong way and not to use his sexual or her sexual organs as a play tool. Then you also teach them how to clean themselves privately when they are in the bathroom, if you think they can. When do I think they can? After they have succeeded in washing their hands after food thoroughly. Because washing hands after cleaning oneself after using the bathroom is more dangerous than cleaning the hands after eating. Because in the process of cleaning, the child touches his urine, his feces, and all of this requires deep and thorough cleaning of hands. So once you know that the child started to clean his or her own hands thoroughly after food, then you know you can start teaching them to clean themselves thoroughly. But this has to come after bathing them several times, maybe tens of times, with explanations how to do this, and then how to clean themselves after using the toilet. That's also part of sexual education, to be thoroughly clean and to make sure, to teach them how to make sure they have cleansed after using number 2, because this is more difficult than cleaning after urination. So teach them how to rub with a dry paper to see, have I cleaned enough or not? Teach them that they don't only remove the dirt, but clean the place where the dirt was, even after it is cleansed. Until it is thoroughly clean, no residual, no smell, nothing. This is part of cleaning and training a child to be mature about using his sexual organs and maintaining healthy body and maintaining healthy relationship with his siblings, boys and girls together, and respecting the distance of privacy and at the same time socializing freely with each other. I hope that if you have questions, that you share those questions now, because when we move to another question, that topic will be difficult to follow up on. By the way, if some of you are, if some of you are recording, I see on the screen that you could see also on the left side of the screen, you will see recording. So the session is recorded for every one of you, for your family, and for your spouses. So if anyone has a question, please either raise your hand or unmute your mic or write down your questions. Yeah, should I say, wow, no questions?
No, we can just go on.
Wow. That means you're satisfied with the explanation you got.
Yep.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So let us move to the next question. Please tell us some of the Quran classes online for kids. I think nowadays there is a lot going on for adults and children online. Okay, I don't remember from the top of my head if there are children classes. I give a tafsir class for children. Tafsir is interpretation of the Quran. T-A-F-S-E-E-R. Sorry, Chip. Sorry. So tafsir, T-A-F-S-E-E-R, is interpretation. I give a tafsir class every Sunday at 2:30. Maybe in the next few months, we will do it at 2 instead, but I have not made that decision yet. I will meet tomorrow at 2:30, and then we will, let me see what the schedule says, because I don't want my scheduler to schedule me when I do not know. So yeah, tomorrow it is at 2:30. It is in English. If your child is deaf, then we will need a sign language interpreter to join the session, and they are more than welcome. You are all more than welcome. Okay? And if your child are talking,
and it's online,
it is on Zoom like this.
Okay, awesome.
Okay?
And it's, have we opened questions yet? For the recent one, the sex education, that's finished. That's put aside.
That
so
is finished.
Now, do you have a question for the new question? Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, come on. Shahina. Thank you. Okay, so my friend, they had asked me if it was okay. She wants a divorce. Oh, okay. My friend had asked me for both wants divorce. They have been together for 17 years. Wants a divorce. Past 4 years, they had a divorce 4 years ago. She is not working. She's not making any work or anything. She says, I'm just praying only that that's the better life, that both of them are divorced. She wants to convert to Muslim. and she has been studying the Quran and praying and reading and focusing. There is no hold on. The ex-husband is not in the picture. She has no missing feelings for him. But when she dreams at night, she dreams of him at night, and that's bothering for her. And she doesn't know why it's a bother for her. She does not want him. She told him to go away. He's not in the picture anymore. But still, the dreams bother her during the night because he shows up in the dreams, and she wants to know what to do.
Well, sometimes we think we have gotten over some issues, but internally our subconscious is still hanging in the balance with that issue. So what you need to do is, when you are during the daytime, when you are busy all the time, when you are up, when you go to sleep, you will not be busy with things that you did not encounter during the day.
Okay, hold on to that thought. I need to explain that out.
Okay.
Okay, so she often does dua, divorce the husband to improve the job and get a better life. She does dua often. Should she be doing dua for him?
She will be doing what?
Spell for me.
Oh, dua.
Dua.
Yes. Okay. That means that because you're telling me that you're making prayer for him, that means you don't make prayer for him while you are asleep. You make prayer for him in the daytime, right? Or before you go to bed. Which means you are not completely divorced from him. You are officially divorced from him, but you are emotionally still thinking about him. This is what your subconscious is telling you when you go to bed. If you complete the divorce emotionally, you will be fully independent from him, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, financially.
So I don't have to dua for him.
Well, I believe that you're dreaming of him because you are busy thinking about him. Dua is the most intimate thing you could do for somebody, short of the physical love. Because you're thinking about him, you're thinking about what's good for him, and you're making prayer on his behalf. This is as emotionally involved as it can get, separate from physical involvement. And so long as you keep doing that, your subconscious will stay busy with that when you go to sleep.
Okay, I understand.
Okay.
So I thought that dream was a good thing, that it helped, it was a sweet help. But it still was the ex-husband, and that was still bothering. So
it is bothering because you're divorced, and it's bothering because you feel living like a hostage emotionally.
So stop the dua.
Yes. If you're bothered with those dreams, don't call them on yourself by thinking about him during the day and then wanting to kick him out of your dream.
So there would not be a punishment if I did stop the dua.
No, you're not obliged to make dua for him. Do you think of reconciling with him?
Okay. No. Don't want it at all.
Then move
The man
on.
wants it, but she does not. The friend of Miss Shahina does not.
Whatever, then move on.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much for the help. I will tell my friend.
Okay. Should we take the rest of the questions I have?
You can go with your other question that you have.
Okay. I have question number 3. It says, wow, how to save a couple's marriage after their family life. I don't understand the question.
Empty nest syndrome. All of the kids left the house. So the family is done, but how do you still save that marriage when there's no children at home?
I thought that this is what it means, but the term that says after their family life, not after the marriage of their kids, which is what you're talking about. In any way, the emptiness syndrome is a reminder that you started without children in the beginning. And in the beginning of marriage, it was a very lovely life. You were fresh, he was fresh, you were together, you had good time, you were building up the relationship, right? I think after the kids go to their own nests, you should revive those days. And whatever power is left in both of you, you should invest it to make sure that you continue to please each other by pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? You continue to serve each other. You continue to take care of each other, because life cannot continue happily without a mission. Allah created all humans as mission-centered people, mission-centered creatures. Like if you look at the animals in the jungle, they have no mission. They go after whatever food they can hunt, and after they feed, they go to sleep if they feel safe, and then they wake up and they keep running after each other in play or in aggression and hunting for food. That's their life. But us humans, life goes on 24/7. Even when we are in our dreams, we are thinking about life. We are thinking about our mission. We are thinking about our children, and so on and so forth. So once your children are married and they move on to their own young families, you have a new role different from the role you used to play. Your children, when they grow all old, and even they are still living with you, they have not married yet, you start to learn how to wean yourself off. You see, it's easier to wean a child from breastfeeding, from using mom's help in everything, than weaning the mother from weaning the child. Or weaning the mother from trying to help the child over protective attitudes, over service, over appeasing to her children. But you learn by course of time that your children can do any and everything for themselves. You start to take a back seat. Then they grow older, they get married, they make a choice. You give them the support you can, and you give them a farewell off, and you are by yourself and with your spouse at home. Marriage should not be endangered by the marriage of the children. It should be a happier marriage, because when you had the children, you had other people to take care of together. Now you have a smaller group. You have each other only to take care of. So your chores are less, your stress must be less. But unfortunately, people who do not mature through the ages, they live for decades, but they never mature. They are still using epithets, they are still using foul language with each other, they are still abusive, they are still arrogant, they are still competitive, they are still clashing. Those never had a happy life before, and they will never have a happy life after, unless they change. This is what the Quran teaches us. Allah says, Allah does not and would not change the conditions of a people until they change what is in themselves. So if we mature, we become pleasant companions. If we continue to behave immaturely, we become very difficult companions. So this is the make it or break it situation, which is if the person matures, this person's companionship is very pleasant. If the person is always living with nitpicking, my right, you must do this for me, you cannot do this, all of the time, shouting and screaming is a bad habit, whether you are young or old. But at old age in particular, it leads to despair. And that's when you start people divorcing at 50 years of age, 55, 60 and beyond, because they are over full of either abuse, neglect, or disrespect, or all of the above. So the emptiness syndrome should be the happy part of our life, because we turn from mere parents into grandparents. Now your children have their own in-laws that you must invite, you must visit, you must keep in touch with, but never interfere in your children's family life. On the one hand, it violates their privacy. On the other hand, you don't know your son-in-law more than his own spouse. And you don't know your daughter-in-law more than her own husband, right? So let them figure it out. And when they come to you for advice, don't go into the blame game. Don't try to be the judge. Try to be a nice and discreet advisor, consultant from a distance. Tell them, what do you think your options are? Do you think you have contributed to something that caused him or her to be angry? Do you think you can take this back? So your child may come to complain against his or her wife or husband. Your role is not to say, oh, my son, I am sorry, this marriage from the beginning was not working. Do you remember this? And bring all her dirty laundry or all his dirty laundry. Don't do that. You don't want to be the one destroying their loving relationship or making it worse. Your role is to help them and teach them how to solve problems, how to be cordial, how to be a better spouse, how to lead by example, how to be merciful, how to be compassionate, how to have empathy. Because those things, if you have not taught them at young age, they grow up missing them. So they want them from others, but they don't know how to practice them. Marriage in general, I liken it to a piggy bank. Do you know what a piggy bank is? The box in which you save money, right? Not the Kleenex box, but a saving box, right? You can never take from a saving box something you have not put in it. Marriage is like that. And if you take more than what you give, you bankrupt the box very quickly. Of course, if you take and never put in, you empty the box. You bankrupt yourself very quickly. And because there are two hands in the box, one has to be always careful not to ever take when you know that the other side needs it. And here is the most important thing. I am not talking about a box that has money. I'm talking about a box which is marriage, that has love, it has care, it has empathy, it has attention, it has support, it has love. Those are not easy things to come by. So if you consume all what is in the box, you leave the other spouse empty-handed, and he will become angry very quickly. So if you want love, give him more love than you need and than he needs, so that he has extra to give back. This is the theory of the box. If you don't put much more than what you take, and if you do not consider how much the other side needs, you empty the box no matter what you try. I hope this would answer that part of the question.
Yes.
Okay. Another question. Why do some men always complain about their wives for everything? Like she is not good at teaching children, not good behavior, not know what food is right for kids, not knowing how to take care of herself, kids, housework, not good at communication, not good manners, and everything. Always blaming the wife. Why do husbands threaten their wives that if they are not good or not listen, not follow my rule, I will marry a second wife or divorce you? Does this show no respect for their wives, and why? The Quran says that the best reward for goodness is goodness. So if I want my wife to be the best communicator, I better communicate well with her. Because in my example, she will have a lead. But if I constantly blame either my husband or my wife, constantly blaming them for everything, that means I am unwilling to look in the mirror about what I am doing or what I'm not doing. So I use my spouse as a punching bag so that she doesn't have a chance to ask me questions. She doesn't even get a chance to speak to me. She doesn't get an opportunity to correct or criticize or ask for things. So I use verbal aggression as a defensive mechanism against her criticizing me or him criticizing me. And that happens from wives to their husband and husband to their wives. Of course, wives do not threaten to marry an additional husband, but they threaten divorce. Okay, so it's a different threat, but it is similar in the attitude and the approach. So what I would do is Two things. Number one, all wives need to know that husbands are not angels, neither are wives. What you see is what you get. What you choose is what you have. And we went over this subject before. Do not ever marry someone on wishful thinking. Oh, I know that his tongue is not clean, but I said maybe after marriage he will be different. Oh, I know he did not and does not pray now, but maybe in the future he promised me he would pray. Or I know that she did not have hijab on, she did not dress rightly, but maybe I can convince her later on. All of these are wishful thinking. What you see is what you get. Don't promise yourself even the promises that your potential or prospect promises you. If she is not with hijab, don't tell me that in a year or two she will have it. Don't build your hopes on false assumptions is the issue. If someone approaches you and says, I love you, you are beautiful, you are this, you are that, and then you say, do you pray? And it says, not really, not on regular basis, then you better listen to the flag he is raising. You better open your eyes to the alarm bell. Don't build your future on moving sands.
Hold on one second.
Sand dunes. Don't build your home on the surface of the water. It will crumble very quickly. Build on facts that you see, facts that you hear, facts that you learn during the engagement period. So we have to understand that our relationship with our spouses is a reciprocal relationship. It is based on mutuality. If my spouse is not happy, I should actually be feeling very unhappy. In fact, good husbands and good wives are the ones who are not sad when something wrong is done to them, but they are sad when they do something wrong to others. Which is better for you? That someone would wrong you or that you wrong someone? Of course, we know the perfect situation is not to be in either position. Nobody wants to wrong anybody and nobody wants to be wronged. That's a given. But I'm saying if you have a choice between the two, which one is the winning side that you want to be on? If someone, for example, attacks you, right? Are you the better off person or is he the winner? Who is winning? And who is losing? If you look at this issue through your faith, you know that if I swear at you, if I use profanity against somebody, I am the loser because he takes from my good deeds into his balance and I lose my good deeds. And if his good deeds are not enough to cover what he has done, then my bad deeds travel to his own balance to make it even worse. When somebody insults you or hurts you, it is like someone giving you $10,000 in your bank account. Is this your enemy exactly? No, it is not. But shaitan makes us feel angry with people who add something good in our balance, because we want to massage our ego. We want to massage our feelings. We want to feel good. But if we think a little bit different and think about the weight of my good balance vis-a-vis the weight of his bad balance, I would rather have the good balance. But after saying all of this, it is not a healthy life that one side is always blaming the other for everything, because it could lead to depression, despair, and people would want to run away from abusive environments. This is not good. This is not healthy. So if it reaches that you are feeling so bad, get somebody in the middle to talk to your husband. But before you do this, be fair and look at his complaints and see when his complaints are legitimate, and do your best to take the wind out of his sail so that he has nothing to complain about. Then, if this doesn't work, then look for the next complaint and try to avoid it. Try to stop it, okay? So the more you limit his chances at nitpicking, if you will, on whatever negative you are doing, by stopping whatever negative you're doing, the more peaceful the environment becomes. And we all hope that the spouse who is complaining, we have to wrap up.
What about the threat of divorce, though? How do you respond to that?
Well, divorce should not be used as a threat. If the husband really is serious about divorce, and he really, really means it, he would divorce. People who threat with divorce are one of two people. Either that they are afraid that destroying the family is not good for anybody, so they use the threat and not the actual divorce, or that they only are threatening to get the attention of the wife, so that if she is not changing, that she should consider changing to make things work with her husband.
Okay.
Okay. Should we go forward?
I think time is running out. We
Okay.
might have to.
Okay.
Because we started at 2. So should we keep the same time for next week, or should it
I
change?
think because prayer time, as I sent the message to Sister Aisha, to may Allah bless her, I told her that currently in the summer, we pray Zuhr at 1:30. So the previous schedule, since we opened the masjid, I'm talking to you from the masjid, by the way. Okay? I'm talking to you from my office in the masjid. That's not the home office. So we started opening the masjid, even though for limited number of people. That means we have to keep up with the prayer schedule. So the prayer schedule every single day is the Dhuhr is at 1:30 until the time changes into the winter time.
Okay,
so
keep only, the 2.
We can only keep it at 2. And I'm sorry for that. I really loved always to be with you.
No, it's just that there's so many questions. You know, I just wanted to make sure that the schedule was that way.
I hope that my answers are not far longer than I should go. I'm trying to
No, you're good. It's
as
just
much
that
information as the subject dictates, because I know that this forum for you may be your weekly primary forum for learning your deen. And the questions you ask are very great questions. I really appreciate your approach to issues, and I hope that you are benefiting from the answers you get.
Yes, it truly does benefit us a lot. Inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay. Thank you very much. I will let you go for your next session. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you.
Assalamu alaikum.